Geometry, Unit 8, which is Chapter 6 from the book, Section 3, Arcs and Angles. So an inscribed angle is created by two chords intersecting on the circle. The measure of the arc it creates is twice the degrees as the angle the chords create. So here we have two chords, AC and BC. They're intersecting each other. They create this arc. The angle measure of our chords intersecting each other, let's make up a number. Let's say this is 100 degrees. That angle, if you times it by 2, that gets you the measure of the arc. So that arc is 200 degrees. If two inscribed angles intercept the same arc, those angles are congruent, which should make sense because they're creating the same arc. So this angle, DAB, creates this arc, and then angle BCD also creates that same arc. That means this angle is congruent to this angle. Now let's say arc DB is 120 degrees. That means these angles would be half of that. So this would be 60 degrees. This would be 60 degrees. If an inscribed angle intercepts the endpoints of the diameter, angle measures 90 degrees. So here we go. We've got this angle DAC. This is creating this arc. Well, we know that arc has a measure of 180 degrees because it's a semicircle. Thus, this angle is half of that. It's 90 degrees. And you can see the same thing. It doesn't matter where the chords are. If they intercept the diameter, this is always true. So that's also 90 degrees. All right, so let's use all of those ideas and ones we've learned before to solve some problems. So let's start here. So we've got this inscribed angle is 40 degrees. Thus, this arc is 80 degrees. Now you'll notice here, this is the diameter. Thus, this half here is a semicircle, which adds up to 180. So this arc's got to be 100. Then the other side, you'll notice, look, these chords are congruent. Thus, the arcs have to be congruent. So this whole arc is 100. This whole arc is 100. So this has to be 50. Half of that, because look, here's this inscribed angle, half of that's 25 degrees. Then this arc has got to be 80. So this angle, 40 degrees. Now let's take it up a step. This one's a little bit more complicated. 80 creates this arc. Thus, this arc is going to be twice that. So the total of that's going to be 160. Well, here's 30 degrees, so this has to be 130 degrees. We then have angle ADB. That creates this arc, 130 plus 160. That's 190. Divide that by 2. This has got to be 95. And then we also know, look, we're only missing this arc. That's got to be 360 minus 30 minus 130 minus 60. And so what we would get, what we end up getting is 140 degrees. So let's solve for the rest of these. This one, DAC, 60 plus 140, it's got to be 100. And then this last one here, that creates this arc, 140 plus 30, that's 170. 170 divided by 2, 85. Now we know we're right because look, this is a quadrilateral. All of these add up to 360. All right, let's use that same knowledge. Let's keep going. Solve some more. Let's find all the unknown lengths and angles. Well, look, we have all these got to be 10 because it's an equilateral triangle, which means all these angles got to be 60 degrees. Central angle, creating this arc, and scribed angle, creating this arc, so that's 120, and that's also raised, which means that's got to also be 10. So since this is 120, the central angle is 120. We have an isosceles triangle here. So 180 minus 120 is 60 divided by 2, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. Over here, looks like we've got an isosceles trapezoid. Since this chord and this chord are created by congruent, sorry, those arcs are created by congruent chords, these arcs have to be congruent. Now let's look what we know. We know 134 degrees creates this whole arc. Well, we know that this part of the arc is 180 degrees. So 134 times 2, that's 268. So subtract 180 degrees, and we end up with this arc being that's not right. 88 degrees. So that means that this arc is also 88 degrees. And then we have this last arc here. So these add up to 180. So this arc's got to be 4 degrees. Obviously, it's not to scale. And then this angle is 134. This angle is going to be 134. That creates this angle. This angle, which is 46, and then this angle also 46. And there we go. That's the end of this lesson.